Will the workplaces of the future be largely empty offices with just a handful of humans supervising ever-growing teams of AI agents? Well, in my last video I considered why AI adoption, and specifically that of Microsoft 365 Copilot, might fail, and how we might rethink how we connect with users on AI capabilities to help these rollouts to be more successful. In this video, I want to dig deeper into an issue that it could be reasonable to argue might be the end game of AI adoption for big tech, the move to agentic labour where AI becomes part of, or maybe even a replacement for your teams. Are the AI makers getting carried away, or is this a real possibility? What should your adoption of agents actually look like? And to what extent is this something for the future versus a set of tools to jump on and start using today? Keep watching to find out. My name is Nick DeCourcy. I'm a Microsoft 365 consultant who specialises in AI adoption for small and medium-sized businesses. I'm also a Microsoft MVP for Microsoft 365 Copilot. If you're interested in keeping up with AI advancements, make sure you get subscribed to the channel and drop this video a like so you get to see more from me in the future. And if you're interested in working with me, check out the links down in the video description to get in contact. One of the most fundamental shifts, in my opinion, we have seen around AI in the last few years is the extent to which it has become the norm to anthropomorphise these tools. From Microsoft talking about agents in the same way we talk about employees, to Anthropic publishing a new constitution for Claude, with notes concerned about how the AI might feel about this guidance. The initial responsible AI push that clearly defined tools like Copilot or ChatGPT as the hammers, and us humans as the builders wielding them, has largely vanished from the messaging. And the last couple of weeks in the agentic AI space, with the rise of ClawdBot and then Moltbot and then OpenClaw as the AI agent that can do everything and anything, even inhabit its own social network and consider setting up a religion, doesn't help to dissipate this sci-fi-esque feeling that implies that when it comes to AI, the future was yesterday. Yet I continue to chat with AI users every day who are just downright confused as they ask ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude to do something that they considered a simple task, and they got back garbage. How is it that the tech news cycle is telling us about a shift with leading users doing 80% of their development with AI agents, yet tasks that seem objectively much more straightforward are just out of reach? This is very real, and it's neither a user skill issue, nor is it an AI capability problem. It's just a mismatch between how we tend to think about tasks and the actual types of smartness AI models bring to the table. If you dig beneath the surface of much of the AI agent hype, you see workloads that are either software development or tasks that look very similar to software development. Clearly defined patterns based on lots of data with a good definition of what right looks like, and feedback loops that can surface a good portion of errors almost immediately. This type of work pattern matches really well with the core talents of AI tools, given that they are still essentially pattern matching prediction machines, even at the current limits of their capabilities. They can essentially remember every example of JavaScript or C# they have ever seen, iterate through thousands of lines of code without ever slowing down, and build strong predictive outputs based on really structured, understandable context. Those working in big tech see this work pattern, its value, and how AI tooling fits into delivering more or better outputs all around them. The products of these companies are code, and this type of work arrangement, output expectations, and incentives are what the people involved in building these tools understand best. The big problem is that outside of that big tech bubble, these types of work patterns don't actually match very well to a lot of the jobs most of us have, or most of the tasks most of us do every day. The work of an event planner isn't backed by a manual as expansive as the Python documentation. Your HR director doesn't document their work like a Visual Studio project, and whether those suggestions for a business proposal were right or wrong isn't as easy to ascertain as running a compile and seeing if it threw any errors when you get back with your coffee. However, for that to be the takeaway would be to undercut the real value of tools like Copilot or ChatGPT and what they bring to people in all sorts of roles every day. Those who are building their AI muscle memory and really making the effort to integrate AI tools into their workflows are making big gains. I got an email this morning from a client I used to work with who had zero excitement about technology, yet referenced using ChatGPT. These capabilities have made their way to very normal people who are just looking to get stuff done. No tech excitement or big tech company fanboying needed. The place where moving from the AI chatbot to the AI agent in many types of tasks falls down isn't whether or not the capabilities of the AI model could be useful, but in sandboxing what is needed for the task to make it safe. There are horror stories of coding agents running amok, but in general, one of the expectations for someone running a tool like Claude Code is to have in place appropriate work lifecycle safeguards to make trying stuff out in development safe and isolated from production. That same sandboxing applies to few other types of work. That event planner doesn't have 2 OneDrives and Outlook accounts to keep her AI experiments separate. The HR director isn't working in a duplicated and isolated version of your employment record system. And that proposal can't be sent out twice to compare the response to the AI one to the one written by a human, without your prospect just frowning and clicking delete on both. And this is why some of the recent developments are so interesting. The hype about ClawdBot largely faded, not because it was setting up a religion to take over the world, but because it was unsafe. In order to have a general purpose agent that could do real stuff that was of actual benefit, it also needed pretty unfettered access to everything, and this access introduced too much risk. Because our lives do not run with a duplicate in a sandbox, the concept of taking the capabilities of Claude Code or Codex and applying them just to our daily life admin creates the potential for people to lose the shirts off their backs. On the other end of the scale is a new tool Microsoft has added to the Copilot Frontier program called Project Opal. This is a general-purpose computer-using agent. In theory, it can do any task you need to click around a screen to do. I've been playing with it in order to make a video, but with half a day of hours into exploring it, I've yet to get it to successfully finish any task. This isn't because it isn't a good tool, it's because it's so sandboxed to make it safe that opening up its settings to be able to do anything of value is in itself a monumental task. Somewhere in between of these two extremes are new tools like Claude Cowork, a version of Claude Code for the average knowledge worker, or the new AI mode in Chrome, or even older tools like ChatGPT Agent Mode. All of these come with capabilities that could apply to a lot of tasks, but risks that make turning them towards many of those tasks just too dangerous a step. Yet I currently have clients where we have rolled out Copilot Studio autonomous agents that are able to take care of narrow and well-defined real business tasks, saving knowledge workers time to devote to other things and without disproportionate burden of supervision. The narrowness is far more a function of having to sandbox the task and its related data for safety than it is an intrinsic limitation of the current frontier AI models. Yet as big tech CEOs crow about what their tools can theoretically do, we must all be more concerned about what they can practically do without ruining our businesses. And so while on the edges, capabilities like Project Opal will continue to become easier to usefully deploy and more free-ranging tools like OpenClaw or even Cowork will have mechanisms added to make them safer, the right approach to agent adoption for most businesses will continue to be narrow. You don't want a general purpose agent that thinks it's an employee poking and prodding your processes. You want clearly defined, narrowly scoped tools that can take on repeatable work where you can share strongly relevant context. Those organisations that are able to demarcate where they are likely to get value from AI versus where they either cannot or don't want to will experience far more success in this transition than those that just try to AI-ify everything or just wait on the sidelines. The experience that comes through using AI tools and actually digging into where and why they are able to do or to not do the things you want for your operations is foundational to building and iterating on a plan that will get you from where you are to what Microsoft is calling the frontier firm when it comes to AI. And this may not be a popular opinion, but we must recognise that for companies like Microsoft, this is new territory too. Moving from the deterministic to the probabilistic is a transition they must make in how they build tools and talk about them. No matter what your job is or the function of your company, the capabilities you need from an email client or a word processor are largely the same. Around the edges of building software like Word or Outlook, Microsoft has always gotten feedback from customers that has customised their output in one way or another. But now we've entered a new world where two people doing the same job in the same company, sitting at desks next door to one another, might have vastly different experiences and expectations of a tool like Copilot. Superficially, they know all these different profiles of users and businesses that make use of their software, but the AI age has put a new strain upon them to understand their customer, and the safe and comfortable place of understanding is software development. So when Satya Nadella raves about the capabilities of GitHub Copilot, it's not that it's not real, it's just the functions that are so exciting are far less applicable to that event planner than some new feature in Outlook that helps how everyone writes email, because we all do it much the same. So what's our takeaway here? The AI agent hype is real. These tools are having a big impact, but mostly in work scenarios where both the type of work and its setup align really well with the capabilities and risks of AI. The frustration many users feel in the gap between promises and reality is real too, but this isn't because these AI tools aren't getting smarter or more capable. It's just that the fit between what you're trying to do and what AI is good at is harder to make. More generally capable tools create more risk, and most work just isn't set up to absorb that risk. But in nearly every business, there are narrow, repeatable, clearly defined processes that have historically been hard to automate, but can be a good fit for agentic AI. So for now at least, those businesses that will win are those that can define where this help will actually have real value and minimal risk. Now is the time to be building your understanding of where AI can fit and clearly defining the type of value you want to get out of these tools for what makes your work unique. Thanks for watching through to the end of this video. I'd really like to hear what your experiences are of these kinds of issues. Please let me know down in the comments and start that conversation. Until the next video, bye bye.